Hey guys, my name is Alex, and in this video I will share a few tips on most difficult flourish that I have ever encountered, and that is Curley-Cue by Randy Holt. So here's a quick disclaimer, guys, that I have just recently kinda nailed this flourish. I still am in the process of experimenting with grips, with the actual widths of the flourish. I may be a good example for some of you guys who can't really do anything with one hand in terms of like trying to spread the cards and creating this kind of fan. Maybe this would be useful for you, but basically, of course, I was learning from the guys like Taras. In some of our videos, you might have seen that. And of course, I would like to thank to Paul Harris for giving us the permission on teaching this flourish, but basically this flourish will be covering only 5 quick tips that might help you learn this flourish. We will leave the link in the description so that you can purchase Art of Astonishment book, where this flourish by Randy Holt was published for the first time. So the first tip would be actually trying out different types of decks. So I find myself performing this flourish very comfortable with broken in deck, well broken in deck, because when a brand new deck and you try to perform the flourish, cards are falling onto the surface and you can't really open anything, and it's a struggle. So basically, if you have just popped a brand new deck of playing cards, maybe it is worth to do a few faro shuffles, few riffle shuffles, springs, and that will kind of break in a deck of playing cards, and they will be easier to fan. Not only the Curley-Cue fan, but a pressure fan. Once you can do a pressure fan with a deck, you can perform pretty much anything in terms of like advanced flourishes. But I also met a few people, it's easier for them to perform Curley-Cue with a brand new deck. So it depends, and you should figure out the strengths of your hand and which type of deck fits and suits you better. So the second tip would be obviously practicing over a hard surface or any surface that you have, in terms of like picking up the cards, so you will be not dropping the cards on the floor, for instance, which is the worst. And of course, so that you can just start over again and experiment with the grips, like you have dropped some cards, you pick them up and you can start over again. So the third tip would be experimenting with the grip, and I will show the grip that I'm most comfortable with, but I believe this is the type of flourish that you are able to leave footprint on, and that's why every time you perform Curley-Cue, it will be different compared to any other person who is performing Curley-Cue. Unlike, for instance, the pressure fan, which looks identical for everyone. So it's a really interesting flourish. Mine is not that advanced, but still it all depends on the grip. I'm holding the deck like that, so that my index finger is covering this short edge on this corner, closer to the corner, but corner is still exposed. And then my middle finger is covering this long edge and also closer to this corner, leaving the corner exposed. And then what I do is I push with the base of my palm like that, and with my thumb as well. And of course, mainly from this side, I push with my middle finger, ring finger, and pinky. My index finger pretty much doesn't really take part in any of the flourish. Maybe it helps slightly to push the cards, but most likely it will only help to prevent the cards from falling down right now. So you're pushing the cards like this, and you help guide the fan with your thumb. So it's really hard to do in slow speed, and basically you need to understand that most likely every time the top cards will be staying in the same position, so it doesn't change the orientation compared to your starting position, whilst all the other cards will be creating this kind of circle around your thumb. I'm really feeling that I'm having some progress with this grip, and basically this is how it works. Добрый день. Also, a small addition would be creating this kind of wrist motion when you are about halfway down to finish the Curley-Cue flourish. It's a really subtle motion, you don't really toss it really violently. It's something that you have to practice with, and find what works the best for you. For the tip number 4, I would like to say that it's kind of really close to the third tip, so I'm probably just dragging out this tutorial. So nevertheless, the way your thumb is positioned on the deck, it will affect the way your curly-cue will look like. Create 2 fans in one so that you can clearly see and you identify like fan number 1 and fan number 2. Just change slightly the position of your thumb. You can create one bigger fan so that it has actually a bigger radius. So I'm still working with this, and of course with your thumb you can actually not only control the cards but push a little bit as well so that this fan can be spread. Just it's like cards are jumping off your thumb a little bit. So you have to experiment, and once again having this kind of surface like a table helps. If the cards fall, it's all good. And finally the 5th tip, and it's practice, guys. So it's always with cardistry, it's all the same. If you don't practice, you will not achieve pretty much anything. Practicing more, experimenting with the grip, watching the videos of other people perform it. Obviously check out the book. There's a few pointers that probably I have missed. I'm just sharing my experience. I wasn't able to do this flourish at all. Now I'm kind of doing it semi-decent. Taras doing it really good, so I'm just sharing what he shared with me, and hopefully this video was useful. If you want to see more video or maybe a more detailed tutorial on Curly-Cue, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!